Hi Quilt Escape fans, we're back to work on block 9 and you're going to have a choice. You can choose Day at the Lake, which is up here, or Goose in the Pond. I'm going to start you out and teach you how to make Day on the Lake. And both of the units will have this corner square triangle. So if you look in the 4 corners of this block, you're going to see that corner square triangle unit. The really unique thing about this method is that you won't be sewing little triangles together, but in fact, you're going to use your half square from rectangle method, and you're going to be using rectangles, and that's how you sew the whole unit together. So if you look here, I've already made the half squares from rectangles, and your cutting instructions will be on the Quilt Escape website for all of the blocks. So you're going to want to download those instructions and then go to Quilt Escape Facebook so that you can see how to make them. So if you're looking here, you see me joining the dark green half square up against this red rectangle. And notice that I've got the dark green right up against it. You don't want to turn it so the light is up there, but just the dark green. So let's go ahead and proceed. Oh, and before I go any further, you actually need 4 of these units to make 4 blocks. But for today's demo, we're just going to show 2. So here we go. We're going to chain sew these together. Go ahead and pick this one up and feed it right through there. Alright. Now, I'm just going to cut these threads real quick. When you press these, I just want you to press with the seams, press the seams towards the larger rectangle. That's all. That's all you need to do. And I'm just using a finger press right now. I know you'll go to the iron and do it. Then these 2 rectangles are going to be put together to look like this. So it's helpful once you make one and see one what it's going to look like. So now I can see it for myself. That's what I want it to look like. And I'm going to put it here, right sides together, and feed it through. One of the tips, let me go back and say this. The triangles are pointing in towards the center. So you can kind of see that right there, how they're pointing in towards the center. So if you put it this way, they're pointing out. So that wouldn't work. You want to make sure that you put it this way with the triangles pointing in. So that's the trick to the whole thing. You won't have a staggered seam here because there's actually a gap. So you're going to simply sew this together, right sides together, creating your rectangle. Now the special technique here that you're going to do is to press the seam open. This is very important. When you go to make the marks with your tool, this seam has to be pressed open. Since I already have one done, I'm going to hold that up for you to see. So I'm just going to show you. The seam has to be pressed open. Alright, now we're going to take this rectangle and this one, and we're going to put them right sides together. That's the trick to the whole thing. These are 5.5 inches tall by 6.5 inches long. right sides together. Always double check that, as you can see. Then you're going to put this on your rotating mat and get your triangle tool. And I want to move this right here so that you can see what I'm doing. It's actually easier if I stand up and do it. And I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. You're going to line up your 5.5 inch line out here on the outside edge. Make sure the line is actually on the edge of the fabric, and you should be able to see right here where the point of that square is, okay? And you don't want to sew across that square. So when you're drawing your line, make sure that your line does not cross across the tip of that square. And the reason for that, I'll just press it up this way, is when you get done, you want that to be right at that point, which is what you're going to get. Then you can turn it around and mark the other side. Same thing, get that 5.5 inch line up there and mark your sewing line. These are your sewing lines. And then you're going to sew them. So you would only have 2 of these units to sew to make your block, whichever one of the blocks you choose. So here we go. And I'm actually going to put a pin or 2 in this. I think I stuck my pin cushion back here because I don't want this to move or shift on me while I'm sewing. So just put your pins out here in an area where you're not going to cross over them under the machine. So that's how you mark them with your tool. And we will go ahead and sew this and make those corner square triangles. Now I am going to put down this piece, although the trick to it is to start sewing on the inside line. So Drew, can you zoom up on that and let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about? You want to start sewing right here, not from the point, but from here. So I'm going to put it back under the machine now, and I am going to begin sewing. Still helpful to have the little piece underneath. And sew right in front of that square. And then we can just turn it around and put it back in. I'm not going to go ahead and put a piece down. I'm just going to actually land right here on this inside, because you see how much of my presser foot is actually on the fabric, so it's really not a problem. And again, just follow your stitching line, which will give you your 5.5 inch half square corner triangle unit. Alright, so I'm going to cut that off, and we'll basically, all we have to do now is cut it right down the center. You know, a lot of times I get out the rotary cutter, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. Cut a 1/4 inch right here. And I only have, notice, 1 dog ear to trim off. Yay! That's the end of that. I'll cut this down to a 1/4 inch, trim this, and this is my hidden 1/8 of an inch that I'll be scrapping out. 1 dog ear on this unit. Now I'm going to open them up because this is my favorite part. Check it out. Look at the beautiful corner square triangle unit. Ta-da! And here's another one. So every time you make one, you're going to get 2 for 1. Now you're going to just press your seam towards the large triangle, which you can flatten those out with the presser foot or your little wooden stick and then do it with the iron. Now, once you make all of these, notice how they're going to fit right in to the corners. And then I want to talk briefly about the other pieces and parts. Won't take long. And I'm going to have you reference for your quarter square triangle units block 6. So you go back and review block 6 and it'll show you how to make these. And you're basically going to put one of these together with one of these. So let me grab up a square right here. So each of these will be paired, the quarter square triangle units, with a simple square unit. And that's basically all that has to be done there. And you can see the blue is always going to go up against the light. So you're going to sew 4 of those units, put them together, and then you're going to have a green square in the middle. So what's going to happen here, the way this block breaks down, it's easier to see if I just take the pieces down. This is going to break down into a 9 patch again. So you're going to have these corner square triangle units joined together with this unit here, and then you'll have the center unit, which will be your quarter square triangle units with this small square, and that will be 1 row, and your final row will be the corner square with these little patches, and you've got your whole block together. So that's the end of how to make this block, and we'll be right back in a few seconds and I'll show you the variation of Goose in the Pond.